Hey guys. Hey, you guys are on here early. I like it. Can you hear me okay?
Sorry, yes, I did not know I muted myself.
It's all good.
How was
Mike,
your day?
it's good. Let me see something. How about you guys? How was your guys' day?
Hey, I didn't even know it had popped up, guys. I was over here
It's all
on
good.
MLS working. How are you guys doing? Thanks for having us.
And I'm doing great. I'm excited for you guys. This is gonna be awesome. I had a bunch of people sign up and they'll probably be joining here shortly. But this is more like getting to know what we're going to be doing in this kind of training. And then Tuesday is our first official. So it's just like this is like an introduction, getting to know me, the history of this class, because you guys know me a little bit better than, you know, some of the other agents. But you guys don't know my full backstory about me and my business. So this will be helpful.
So excited.
Hey, Kevin, how's it going, bud? But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Do you guys have a pretty good week?
I
Yes,
can't believe it
sir.
already ended.
Right. And it's the 10th of October already. What is that?
I know, I know.
Been going by so fast.
Man, oh man. But yeah, when we get started, I'll share my stuff and answer questions and go from there. And I'm also going to invite each of you guys to a Google Drive folder that'll have all of the documents and stuff that you can download and save so that you're making your own instead of like trying to edit them there and then all that. You can download them. So it's helpful.
Hey Ron, I'm here, but I'm driving, so I'm gonna go
No
off
worries.
camera.
Yeah, no worries. Stay safe. We're recording it, so I'll send this out to everybody too. But yeah, just shoot in the comments section or the chat which email address you want me to use to invite you to the Google Drive because some people like to use their Gmail accounts versus their work accounts. So if you have a preference, just put it there. If I don't see response, I'll just end up defaulting to your Judge
Work.
Fight email, but just in case. But yeah.
Also, kind of off topic,
Mhm.
just a quick question. I got a call like just an hour ago from this gentleman who works with like a small company. So it's like him and four other guys, but they're essentially wholesalers. And he's like, yeah, we work with tons of other agents, and so we just kind of expanding into the DFW area. He's like, I live in Temple, Texas or something. But that, the way they operate is essentially, let's say we find a property that meets their, description of what they're looking for, and we would, at that point, enter into an agreement specifically for that property. I'll just, obviously, because I'm so new, just like, is that a common thing? Do you think it's worth my time? Is that something that um, is worth looking into or working towards, or what do you guys think?
Personally, I've seen a lot of bad things happen with wholesalers and getting contracts, properties tied up. It's not saying you shouldn't do like a meeting with them, and we'll go over like some of the structures for like referral partners because that could potentially be a referral partner for you. But I would have some very in-depth conversation with them, I would do a business planning session with them and I'll give you guys a checklist of questions to ask people like that to help vet to make sure you're not putting yourself or your potential clients in a position to be miserable. Because in essence, you got to remember wholesalers, they want to make a profit, right? So they're not about making, so you have a fiduciary responsibility to your clients. And if you are working with a person who wants to make a profit, not that every client doesn't want to as well, it can cause some conflicts of interest depending on what they're looking for. That's why there's some questions I'd vet out because sometimes they want to network with you to get access to property that they can then go behind your back to get at or your client database.
That was my biggest worry because I was like, if we're not in an agreement to begin with, and I'm just sending him properties, what's to say he can't just go reach out himself?
Exactly. So that's some of the stuff that we'll vet out because we'll be getting short. Well, we're gonna get started here shortly, but and because I'm recording it and people who join late, they'll just have to get it because I'm very much a stickler about time management and honoring your time. So we'll start on time, we'll end on time, but I'll stay after for questions. But in that situation with this training, it's a lot to do with mindset first, systems, processes that will help make sure that everything you would do aligns with your end state goal. And we'll go over what that means because in this training, we're going to do once a week in group sessions like this, but then I'm going to set up individual one-on-one coaching with each of you to custom tailor that service that for your brand because not everybody has the exact same game plan. And so like Rosemary in the Frisco office, she has an amazing opportunity for a homebuyer seminar that she really wants to push that goes in line with her brand to do like speaking engagements and women's retreats. Well, your real estate business can morph into that same idea where it's just not just you're not bifurcating your life, right? So I'm helping her put together a package where when she has a client, it's reminding them that like a new lead, hey, I have a home buyer seminar, I'd love you to attend. It helps make sure you feel comfortable and confident. Who do you know? Getting people in that room. So that's something she wants, and she had experience with that in California. But maybe you don't want to do a home buyer seminar. Maybe you want to do focus on open houses or door knocking or whatever. That's where I want to partner with you and go deep and put that custom service. Same thing with Spencer. He has a unique thing with wanting to target um, the elderly care and helping get ahead of that planning. All of us have parents. All of us are going to be older ourselves. So how do we manage our equity position? So I'm going to help him build that out. And that's why it's such a cool thing to one, get the basics in and then refine it. And I want to go deep with you guys because then if I can help you guys close 6 to 10 deals in the next 90 days. Think about that as we go into the first quarter because everything we do today pays us in 90 days. So if you're wondering why you haven't had any business in closing, you then have to look at what was your lead generating activity? Because sometimes we get busy doing busy work versus income producing work. Like, oh, I've got to make this and do this perfect thing and make this advertisement and we're going to get to the bottom of it. So I'm going to share my screen, kind of give you the overview of the idea of the training, and then walk you through some of the stuff that we're going to go over in the like as an overview and some of the concepts. Because again, our first training is actually on Tuesday from 6 to 7 on Zoom. So we'll get that going. But let me share my screen. Let me go screen one. And then I'll answer questions too. So don't feel free to, if you have questions, you're good there. All right, so screen one, share. Okay, so you guys seeing this over here?
Yes,
It might take
now.
a second to pop up.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So the 90-day Blitz Club is my idea that I wanted to bring to you guys. And like the club acronym is community, legacy, unforgettable, brand. And so that's what I want to help each of you guys make. Now I'm going to attach this. This is just kind of help overview it with you guys. And so what each of these mean, I'm zooming in case it's too small for your screen. But with community, I want us to be a group to where, Victor can call Elizabeth or call Ijoma and or Kevin and just bounce things off because we all have our own individual experience and value that we bring. And legacy is what I hope that you all are here to achieve, like long-term generational wealth, not just for yourself, but for your families and every client you serve. Part of the passion I have in this business is I know that homeowners have 40 times the net worth of a renter. And that is fuels the passion behind my drive to come up to work every day is to make sure that I help as many people be in the position to win and be successful in home ownership. And what does that look like? And that's what we're going to build together individually and as a group. Unforgettable. How do we make it the system that when your clients work for you and work with you, that they become your raving fan referral generating machines. And the only way you do that is have a repeatable, duplicatable service that you give to every client, no matter what they are, what they're buying, what they're selling, and you can track it and measure it. And so we're going to help build that. And then brand. You guys are more than just realtors. And I want to help avoid burnout and help you achieve your dreams. Because just a quick question: how many of you guys, when you were in kindergarten, first grade, like young, wanted to be a realtor when you grew up?
It wasn't on the list, I don't think.
Anybody? Negative. I didn't know that there was even a job to be a mortgage lender.
Same. Yeah, I was about to tell you that. Like,
Yeah, I wanted to be a plastic surgeon when I was 5 and
yeah.
6 to fix babies with cleft palates. Like that was what I wanted to do. And so, like, that was what I wanted. And here I am as a mortgage lender, and I also like to give to charity for that because I can't be a doctor, but I can help provide the surgery because I have money. And so, it's part of the way I achieve my goals and and have that ability to impact people. But that's where it's like the brand, what is it that you want to build? What do you see yourself? And we'll do that individually, but just as a quick question, across the board, because this is what we're doing. We're building this out. We're going to have a 90-day massive activity, all that jazz. And we'll go over this in a second, but I just want to ask everyone in here what I always say start with why. There's a book, Simon Sinek, who has a book, Start with Why. Uh, for your guys' input, what was the thing that drew you to becoming a realtor? And we'll start with Victor.
Yeah, to try to make it brief for sake of time, I was interested in the idea of being my own boss, first of all. And so I was actually in wholesaling. I had a mentor and invested some of my own money, divested from my investments just so I could afford that. And I did see a return on investment, but I didn't like how shady it was. And, I went back to corporate America, 9 to 5, and, started my own smaller business. But I realized I was like, man, like real estate was just fun. It really was my own boss, my own time. And I was able to manage it. So I was like, why not come in it instead of like kind of the shark and is how I felt with wholesaling. I can actually help people achieve their goals. And then, my family as well. There's no one in our family extended or otherwise, that's a realtor. And so it's like kind of being the first in the fam too was a motivation. But yeah, just that idea of freedom, I guess.
I like it. And so, just a couple follow-up questions. With your idea of freedom, and you saw it in real estate, what about the freedom it draws it to you? Is it the freedom for your schedule, the freedom to not have to be at a certain spot every day? Like, describe that and go into detail if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I like the ability to schedule when I'm going to work. And
Hmm.
so I think, you can be as busy as you want really in this industry. And that's what I'm realizing. And so like the clients I have now, I'm not pushing too hard. Like I know I could have more business. But I'm also so new that I want to kind of establish the groundwork and have the confidence in the systems and be able to do that. So the freedom is definitely for like vacations in the future with family, be able to spend that time, but then also in the moment to just like as I'm growing up and growing, like the freedom to like kind of decide like, okay, I'm going to work on this day and then like take care of myself and my health this day and that type of freedom, I think.
Okay. What excites you the most about your like working with clients? Like, what is it that really excites you about working with clients?
Besides just learning about people, like I'm kind of a social butterfly. I like to just talk to people sometimes, and I think helping them achieve the goal that I haven't purchased a home yet myself, but helping someone do that is a very big deal, and it's a large responsibility. And so I think especially, I'm working with two buyers right now. They're the same in the same boat. They're both first time home buyers, and it's just kind of a good it's a good feeling. They've both told me, in their own ways, like, oh, thank you for talking to me. These other realtors didn't reach back out. They didn't, give me the time of day, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's crazy. First of all, but second of all, it feels good to know that I'm in a position where I care enough and they see that, and then I'm also helping them achieve this huge goal that they've planned on for so long. That's probably the most exciting part.
Yeah. See what I was just doing there. One is learning a little bit more about you and what drives you, but I'm building what we're going to be going over first, like the basic concepts of the class, but elevator pitch. Do you hear how many gems everyone in the room, and we'll go around, that he dropped about how he could, when he's talking to a client, establish trust and build that relationship? I had a clients that experienced X, Y, and Z, and they didn't get callbacks. And I knew that I needed to do a better job with the people I serve because this is one of the top 5 most stressful things you go through. And you need somebody that's going to take that to heart and make sure you feel comfortable and confident every step of the way. And see where you're just building that confidence and that the scripting and role playing, because if nobody knows how much experience any of you have until you tell them. Not that you need to keep it a secret, but you chose to partner with a company that has 88 years of experience, that has seen ups and downs of the economy, but that has a juggernaut behind them with their one team that if the client needs a roofer, a home inspector, photos, that you can one call and get that done. And that's why you chose to partner with such an amazing company so that the clients that you serve are in the best position to win. I don't have to say I'm a realtor at all. All of a sudden, they know that you're coming with 88 years experience and a huge team behind you. Instead of, well, I've been in it a couple of years. Not saying that's bad, but how do most realtors usually talk? They try to sell themselves instead of partner and get on the same side of the table. So we'll go into that. How about you, Elizabeth? Like, what got you into real estate? And the same kind of questions, like, what makes you excited about waking up every day and doing this? Oh, you're muted. There you
Can you
go.
hear? Okay.
Mhm.
Basically what Victor said, just financial freedom and just being able to help others find or build that generational wealth as well. It's something that I constantly beat myself up on, wish I, bought when I was 19 because I didn't realize there was just so much into it and how much it actually you actually gain in it. So yeah, just finding that, I guess I rolled into it. I never thought I would do this, but definitely have found a passion in it and I enjoy talking about it and getting people into that journey as well. So
Mhm. That's huge. And you have experience in those spots because you guys have multiple properties. So you know how it impacts your net worth, the risks, the rewards. And think about how many people are, could, imagine if you could find you at your age at 19 to give you the guidance that you could have been in a much different spot today.
oof,
You
I
see,
wish.
that's amazing. Look at all that opportunity. And so that's where you can come with confidence because you are where you're at and you have all this behind you, that lived experience where you can use that as your mission statement to like communicate to clients. I know how important this is because X, Y, and Z. And I wish I would have had me at this age to make sure that I'm ready for success. And you have parents, you have lived experience. Like another question I'd like to ask you, what is, when you were a kid, what was it that you wanted to be when you like grew up?
When I was a kid, I wanted to be a veterinarian, and then later on, throughout the years, it did change.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never knew I was going to be a real estate agent. So
But see, veterinarian to realtor. So
yeah,
like it's a fun adventure. But
yeah, sure.
yeah, cool. How about you, Ajama? What would you say and say, give us a little bit of your backstory.
Okay, for me, actually, it's the love of houses that
Hmm.
drew me to real estate. I just remember like sometimes driving around Dallas and looking at the houses and feeling that, oh, thinking that this could also be translated into a career, showing other people houses and getting them excited about buying property as well. But of course, that was as an outsider before getting into it and knowing all that it entails. And it's beyond that, it's being able to find out what someone really needs, what they're looking for, and help them. Because I've had experiences like when I was living in Nigeria, I had uh, an agent. It wasn't a realtor; it was a real estate agent showing me apartments, and it just felt like they were just dragging me around town, showing me things, not really considering the kind of person I was and what I really wanted. And just making that easier for somebody who's actually going to spend their money, their hard-earned money, to either buy or rent a house. And especially knowing all that's required, just, it's a big transaction. So if I can find a way to facilitate that for them and make it easier, make it less stressful, make it as transparent and easy as possible, as well as looking at lovely houses, I think that's part of the joy of it.
Yes. And I think that's important. And I would lean into that. The things that light you up. Looking at houses is fun. It's dreams, it's character, it's imagination, and you can see a vision. Sometimes clients need that because they might not have that ability. And again, with your experience of having someone just dragging you around, not listening to you, not giving you that custom service, that's stuff I would lean on when you're developing your elevator pitch. I had this experience working with a realtor who did X, Y, and Z, and I knew I had to be better because I felt like they did not listen to me. And I want to make sure that you don't feel that. So we're going to go in an in-depth conversation, and I want to know your concerns, fears, goals to make sure that I honor my fiduciary responsibility to you and help you build long-term generational wealth through homeownership, and not just help with this purchase. I want to be your realtor for life. And that's where it's like you start to get into these conversations and building trust, getting the additional leads, and we'll talk about that in the future. But I'm already hearing great stuff to start helping with your plans and your elevator pitch. So that's huge. Rosemary, would you mind sharing yours? You're on mute.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So my background is in corporate leadership. I had good and bad experiences, right, in relation to that. I've been in the mortgage industry. My background is in property management. So getting my realtor license was always something that I wanted to pursue. But being in leadership, it's like, at executive level,
Yep.
it's very easy to procrastinate, right? I pivoted a little bit, went into utility concierge services, and Ron, I shared with this with you. So, survivor from a sexual assault, and so that it took that to really open my eyes and refocus my priorities and my attention. And so, a lot of my background in corporate, climbing the ladder, doing all the gritty work, I'm like, if I can do that for someone else and build them a business, why am I not doing this for myself? And so it took a traumatic experience to really, really reset my mindset, and get my own self and my own business and things in order to pursue that. So
Yeah. And I shared with them a little bit about your idea about your homebuyer seminar, which I think is so huge. And your brand of being more than just a realtor for homebuyer, but like an empowered woman who goes from, now I can add the piece of from survivor to thriver. You know what I mean? Like you've taken your power back
right.
and now you can bring that same empowerment to when you speak on stage for women or different retreats or
Yeah.
whatever it is. And that's the
Yeah.
brand aspect of the club, is how are we building brands and everything we do now? Because when you have an initial consultation, you don't have to tell them everything, but you're letting them know now you have a reason to invite them to stuff. The homebuyer seminar,
Right.
this,
Well,
your
I think the
coaching.
other piece of it too is right. It's harder. So I naturally have a genuine want and desire to leave people and things better than when I encounter them, right? So a true heart for service. And
Yes.
so in corporate, there again, when you're in somebody else's business, there's a lot more things that you have to abide by.
Yes.
And so when you have your own business, you get to develop your own integrities and missions and values and things of that nature. So that's a big aspect of it as well.
I think it's amazing. I'm excited to see it. And every time you start talking, I always get goosebumps because I know it's impactful and it's a different level of of responsibility, but commitment. And you have that experience in corporate that you could give better service and be everything you didn't get in those times for your clients and partners and growing their business because they don't just need a house. They want to be business owners. They want consultations. So creating additional revenue streams, but that goes to
Right.
the individual one-on-one coaching that we're doing. But that's where everybody can hear these ideas, and maybe it sparks like, maybe I want to do speaking. Maybe I want to do public. I want to write books or whatever it is. Let's put a path together so that you're achieving your dreams and not just becoming a person who does a lot of transactions. And that's
Right.
where we're going. So Tony, feel free to share about you too and some of your backstory, because I know you've got a unique situation going on.
Yeah, first, to tell you the truth, man, when I was in high school, junior high school, I hated real estate. My parents, they bought so many homes. They bought every home they ever lived in, they purchased. And at a point in time when they got settled, they started buying houses for property in Wisconsin just to lease out. But in the summertime, summer vacation started where everybody's going to have a good time. I was cleaning out apartments, doing work on homes, worked all the time. So at a point in time, I just didn't really think about it. Well, I went to college, got a graduate from college, moved to Dallas. So I started, like I tell you, when I started taking my tests, my classes for real estate, I started taking it in 94. 94, and I didn't get them to 2000, 2020, I guess was. So then it's just growing up in real estate, I guess, like with my parents, and that's all the wealth that they built with that. And then also the big surprise at the end, it wasn't a surprise, but it's found out something we could do with some of the land that they purchased back in probably in the 1940s, I guess it was, that we have a possibility to make millions off of it today.
Yep.
So it's just we're working on that aspect now. It's going to be dealing with putting a data center on that land. So we progressed a lot that in the last 2 weeks. We jumped in with cyber. They build a data centers down in New York. So it's pushing along real good.
Huge. Yep.
Yep. So it's a lot. No, now I enjoy it now. I know a lot about it,
but think about how much you can use that exact same experience to to emphasize the importance of buying now and holding and building that wealth, because your parents doing the little things years ago that might have been frustrating to a young kid is now going to be something that sets them up for the rest of their life and their kids' lives in the future,
exactly.
off of one decision. And so this is where it's like building that branding out and where you can stand on it and talk to people, because we do business with people we know, like, and trust. Everybody knows that. But how do we build trust? How do we do that? And it's through the connections. And people will connect with me that won't connect with someone else. And some people won't connect with me. And that's okay. And that's the part where we get to that point and knowing ourselves so well that we're not frustrated when something doesn't line. It's okay. It's just not meant for us, Let's go with Fatima. If you don't mind sharing yours, that'd be great. You're on mute right now. And if she's busy,
hi, Ron. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having us, Ron. This is wonderful, and I'm happy to be here today. Unfortunately, I'm with my son, and he's not going to let me talk. I'll be a good listener today. I promise next time I'll share my experience. I don't know if you can hear me, but
we can.
Do you hear me, Ron?
Yes, ma'am. We do. Yep, we can hear you, but I can give him a little touch on some of the backstory, but take care of your son. Feel free to listen, and you'll get copies of everything. So you're good.
Thank you. You're doing amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Fatima is an amazing person. And I don't know if you've been around people that just make you feel lighter or happy just in general. Like, I don't know how to better describe it than like almost like cotton candy. Like, it's just amazing. And so I know that she will help bring a level of calm in a transaction that is unique, because there's just something magical about her personality, and just some people have it and some people don't. And I'm excited to see her flourish, because that is something that is going to attract so many different clients to her, because buying a house, selling a house, top 5 most stressful things a person goes through. Maybe they do it 2 to 3 times. And when I show you a slide here in a second, what that means.
Have you ever had a Bentley?
Have I ever had a what?
Have you ever had a Bentley?
A who?
Mama.
What was that?
I think that's her son talking.
I'm sorry, I didn't mute.
It's okay. If you had a question, I'd be happy.
I'm sorry. I'll mute it now.
But yeah, how about you, Kevin? Would you mind sharing a little bit about your backstory and what got you into real estate?
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Sorry I can't be physically on the camera, but I'm driving back home. I had 3 homes to show this afternoon, so Life is good. The weather's even better. And so for me, my history with real estate came in, I can really say ever since I was a kid, I just had this interest in land, right? My family owned 3.5 acres. They all lived on it. And so just the interest of, wow, this is a big yard, right? And so fast forward, high school graduation, I played pro baseball, college baseball, and got into a loop with other professional baseball guys that would talk about real estate a lot. So fast forward, went back and got my master's, became a school counselor. And for you guys who don't know, our educators are servant leaders. They take care of our children, they look out for them. So I did that for about 5, 6 years. And then I met my wife and we relocated to Dallas. Prior to relocating to Dallas, we had a condo that we bought and then put it up for rent. And then we just started doing some research in the real estate game as it pertains to, turning real estate into assets. So we paid for a burst strategy class. We paid for a note class, and we've compiled those two classes that we've taken and the information that we've gotten to really establish our own portfolio of real estate, which is now somewhere around $900,000 in terms of a portfolio that we have, not cash flow, but assets. So,
Hey, it's good. Assets under management.
Right. So we've done that. And my last job was home remodeling, where we would do remodeling of homes when it comes to windows, roofing, or hardy plank siding.
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of took me from one end of Dallas to the next. The leads were not as good as Up City, but they were, you go see the home and you're wondering how you can help a person, and they're hotly what they call that, one-legged sales.
Yeah.
So basically you're meeting somebody for the first time and you're having to sell it to them that day. And you all know, you get 3 quotes, you're gonna do your research if you're any type of a good buyer, right? Even if that's on Facebook Marketplace or Amazon, right? So after that job, I was like, working that job for about 6 months, and I was like, man, we've been talking about this real estate game, and I just think it's time to go get the real estate license to be full-fledged into the real estate game, not only for our investments, but to also be able to teach people the process and secure that trust that they have in us to help them with one of the largest purchases they're going to make. So we enrolled in the 6-week class, passed the test in January, and lo and behold, doing research, I joined with Judge Fight Company, and happy I made that choice because of everybody that's involved with it, the resources that comes along with it, and just the mentorship that you get through the process from not only the other realtors in the office, but everybody throughout the company. And it's just one of those things that just came easy, and in terms of long term, where I am now with it's being a realtor, it's just a matter of really educating. Going back to being a counselor, the way I used to educate kids on going from high school to college is now how the same energy that I'm using to educate adults going from one home ownership to another, or becoming a first time homeowner. And I think it's such a significant thing because when you have access to information that can change somebody's life,
yes,
you're no good to them if you keep it to yourself. You have to share that information. That's what we're here on earth for, right? To better up each other. And so I think that's just the quality, the side that I come from, in helping, assisting, being a servant leader in that space, educating them, and then executing the deal and having it be seamless from beginning to end, because it's really not about me going after the 3% in the deal, although that helps. That's a great incentive, but it's more about securing that confidence in that buyer or that seller, that I know what I'm doing and I'm putting them in the best possible position.
absolutely. And one of the things I think is unique that I think you could lean on is you don't become a pro athlete by accident.
Right.
And so that takes discipline and practice and hard work and grinding, especially because if I'm not mistaken, you pitched, correct?
I got recruited to pitch out of high school, but I never pitched ever. I actually became a first baseman in college, and then when I got drafted, I did first base, left field, and catcher.
Either way, that all of those positions are pivotal in baseball, and it takes somebody that's practiced their craft, and you have to hit a curveball. And so, and,
Right.
and that is no joke. And so, like, think about how much effort and work it went into to be able to be drafted for something that there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people that are pitching in high school baseball, but you were good enough to be drafted into college and then be able to have the skill to transfer that skill into being a first baseman, left field, different positions. Like that is huge. And like that work ethic is something that you could also implement into some of your scripting because that everybody can respect and understand it, even if you didn't, even no matter how long your career was, the fact that you got there is shows that you're better than 0.1%, like you're in the 0.1% of the population that's ever even gets to play college sports, never mind professional sports. And so that's huge. And then, of course, everything else you mentioned too, but it just adds into that compounding effect of what makes you special. And all of us are special for certain things. And that's what we need to highlight is that our own unique talents and skills. And so this checklist, you guys are going to have it. It's kind of like a helpful document. And again, I'll invite you all to the Google Drive. Feel free to share in the comments if you haven't already, which email address you want me to use to invite you to the Google Drive. But this thing has QR codes to walk you through it, but we just kind of touched on the elevator pitch, right? Because if you do not have something practiced and you hear somebody talking about, oh man, you're in let's pretend you're in a gas station. You hear somebody complaining about rent prices have gone up. If you don't have something practiced to go up to that person and talk to them and get their cell phone number or give them your card, you won't do it. And so what this is doing is going to help make sure you feel comfortable and confident in any room so that if you hear a person talking about rent, you hear somebody's going through divorce, whatever it is, you're ready to go. Plus, it sets up your calls when you're making those calls. And that's what we're going to really start crafting between now and Tuesday and into Tuesday in case people aren't on this call. So you guys get a preview to be ahead of it for Tuesday's call. You can work on the weekend. But there's a little checklist on how to do it. I show you mine in here. And then there's the video, of course. And here's the template if you guys want to just take it and copy and paste it. And we'll go over this in detail at the meeting on Tuesday, but like having that for referrals too, because you guys are business owners. You're not just realtors, right? So how do you add the most amount of value to your clients? If you're going to help buyers buy a property, a lot of you guys have talked about being in some level of renovation or investor. Well, sometimes people can't afford the fully done house or whatever. So you got to help build a dream. So it's like, hey, look, let's buy this house that might need a little love in the kitchen. And I have a contractor I go to breakfast with every Thursday, or however you want to talk about your contractor. And so what would this house need to look like for you to feel like you want to put an offer on it? Because you know how most people, when they hear people complaining about the house, it's like, okay, let's go to the next one. What if we got them involved in helping them build the vision? Because if the bones are good, if the house is where it's at and everything else is there, carpets can be replaced, walls can be painted, little things can be done. But if you help them create the vision, they're not being sold, they're being partnered with. But if you don't have the script, if you don't have the wordplay, if you don't feel that passion, it won't come off genuine. And so that's some of the stuff that we're going to help work through all this stuff is to get you guys feeling comfortable and confident because you're not trying to memorize scripts. You're speaking from the heart. I really mean what I say. I want to help people build long-term generational wealth through home ownership. I want to guide people along the path of successful home ownership when others simply show them to a door. And so there's more to being successful in home ownership than just closing on a house. And so these are some of the things when we're thinking about that get us excited that will literally go punch somebody over if like somebody tries to harm one of our clients. Like those are the passion things that will help you build this to where when you hear somebody talking, you feel like you can't not go talk to that person. Because if you don't, who will? And maybe they're going to spend another 5 years renting. And now all of a sudden you help because you weren't too afraid to talk, you just cost that person $100,000. And that should be something that terrifies in a good way, not in a bad way, because I'm not going to be trying to get you fear, but like conviction. I cannot, I would not be able to sleep if I did not do what I was supposed to do because I understand the weight and heaviness of it, especially as we see things in the world the way it's going. We got to do our part to make sure people are set up for success and building that generational wealth because who else is going to help them? The system is not designed for it. And that's what we want to help people break from because it brings freedom. Victor wants freedom and his real estate to travel and be with his family. You don't think our clients want that too? How do we help them buy a property that maybe guides them to freedom? If we don't ask what their goals are, if they ever want to become investors, we don't know those things. So we're reconnecting with them. Are we truly interested in our clients? So all of these things, when you ask questions, shows that you actually care and are interested. And you start with yourself because ask yourself these questions when you're building your elevator pitch, and that's will help you be ready in any conversation. And then practice it. That's the other part we're going to go over on Tuesdays. When to use it, how to use it. We all have family. We all have friends. And be like, hey, you are my friend or family. You are obligated to help me. And so if not, I'm just going to come to your house and do this when you're asleep. So which one would you like? Awake or asleep? And so practice it with them. Try it. Be like, okay, now be like a really mean person from New York and just like have fun with it. And then you're never nervous because you've already practiced it 10,000 times. You're like, I've talked to this New Yorker before. I know what to say. And so that's a part where it's fun. And this is bringing the community aspect to it because I want to empower you guys to be yourself. Don't try to be me. Be yourself 100%. And the people that you attract are going to be the ones that close with you. And the questions we ask will determine if those people are aligned with the goals or if they're just tire kickers, and that's okay. But then we know how to put them in a system of follow-up, hot, cold, mild, whatever the system needs to be for you, so that you are spending your time where the money is. Because if you don't have money, you will not be able to serve your clients, you will not be able to serve your family, and next thing you know, you'll be doing something else in 6 months to a year. Buyer turn time, 30 to 90 days fundings. It's quick, sometimes 30 to 45 days. And nothing against listings. Listings are important. But the average time for a listing is usually 100+ days when you start to talk to them, get them convinced to fix their house and all this other stuff. Sometimes it's 6 months. And then the out-of-pocket costs are high. Staging, photos, open house, all of the expense that goes into listing. And I think that it's something that should be targeted, but it's very expensive. Whereas a buyer, you're just showing them houses, and if you have a system right, you might be able to only show them a limited amount and get them to commit. And now you're helping them buy a house, and now you got immediate funding. And you get 6 to 10 on average a month for a while. You are going to have enough money to do whatever the heck you want to do. And so that's where this is all going, is building that system. And also think about this. Everybody you help today, the average buy cycle is 3 to 6 years. So when we're thinking about business, we're building a business, not just a transactional relationship. So how do we protect our money 3 to 5 years from now? Well, we have a follow-up campaign and letting them know, hey, I'm going to touch base with you every step of the way because I want to make sure I'm your realtor for life and this is what it looks like. Because do you think the people that's talking to them are establishing that kind of expectation relationship? Most of them are just going to do the same thing. Hey, I want to help you. I'll do this. I'll show houses. I'm going to show you how I'm going to help you build long-term generation. Whatever your thing is, it's the differentiator. But it starts with knowing yourself, building your elevator pitch. We're going to talk about VIP lists. I know if you've been through Pathways and Judge Pathways, they'll have this, but I go a little bit deeper again with the mindset of value, right? My whole brain is function on value and partnerships. So VIP list, there's a QR, you can read it. Again, this is all in preparation for next week. But building it is important because where your leads come from. Right now, people have Opcity, this, that, the other, and they forget that there's gold mine in our database, even if you don't have a massive one right now. And this will help you put it together because you know somebody who knows somebody who's either renting or needs to rent or buy. But we need to be intentional with the conversation and make it to where it's not creepy. And we'll go there, but starts with the elevator pitch. You know what I mean? Filling this out because statistical average. Do you know that on average, lead to close, this will also help bring a level of peace to you guys. The statistical average lead to close is 20%. So if you have 10 leads in a month, statistically, that's 2 closings. What ends up happening is usually people will get 10 leads and then not prospect again because they have activity to do. I got people to work on. I'm going to do this and do this and do this. And then they don't realize that why I have no business in the next 90 days. Well, you stopped prospecting at 10. You have to constantly be prospecting and have systems and set ourselves up for success. And I did this experiment with a couple of people where I asked you right now, and we'll do it together. Like, close your eyes and think, what would you do right now if you had 10 people call you to start showing them houses and wanted to make offers this weekend? What would you think and what would you feel? And like, pay attention to the physiological experience in your body. Imagine 10 people called you, they want to write offers this weekend. That's 10 offers that you have to write at least this weekend. How would you feel?
Panicked.
100%. Freaking panicked. Anyone else? Victor, how would you feel if you had 10 people call you right now because they wanted to go out and look at offers and make offers on property?
I would be so excited, and then I would probably have to tell some of them I'm only one guy. I don't know if we can go see all these properties ASAP, but I would love to help.
Yep. How many offers have you written so far?
Me personally,
Yep.
uh, technically zero. I just have these two buyers, my first ever two pre-qualified.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess in terms of practice, I've probably written like three, four, five, but nothing like legit that's been
So this
closed.
would be your like you'd have to write an offer that might be getting a client accepted as a deal. There's a little bit more pressure there. How about like anyone else want to chime in like how they would feel if they I mean it's not a trick question. It's being real. Like that's the good thing about this class. I would be when I first started, if I had 10 leads call me today and I had 10 applications, I'd be overwhelmed. Like, I'm stressed. I would do it and I would work until 3 in the morning, but it's okay to feel natural stress because why that's important is we have to understand that we have a natural fight or flight instinct that happens and our amygdala is impacted by stress. Our brains are there to help prevent us from danger, from pain and death. And so our subconscious is constantly going. And if we know that there's a potential threat in the back of our minds, we will literally not do the work to get the things that we know would pay us because we know the benefit. We had 10 closings this week. That'd be a lot of money. But our brains subconsciously see it as a danger, as a threat, because it would cause us pain and anxiety. So we won't go out and get the leads to get that. And that's okay. But if we call it and name it and understand it, how do we build the systems so that we don't feel overwhelmed in that time period and we can scale? Because realistically, you're not going to get 10 leads in one day, maybe. But you could, because who's determining your income? Anybody else? Is anyone else responsible for your income other than you guys? Yeah. Even if you have kids or whatever, you are in complete control of your income. And that's the part that's exciting. But the reality is, if we don't have systems set up, you will subconsciously sabotage yourself so you do not go out and get those leads and closings. It won't happen. And so that's what we're going to break through too, is getting through those subconscious barriers that keep us from leveling up because what gets you here won't keep you here. And that's the part. There's a great book that I have at the office in Lake Highlands that talks about it because some of the biggest threats to success, to future success, is past success because people get comfortable. They're like, well, I did it till this time. How many times have you heard realtors? Well, I've been doing this 20 years and blah, blah, blah. Well, great. But 20 years ago, they didn't have TRID guidelines. So and you could fog a mirror, you could get a loan. So it's a different environment. But sometimes people rely too much on their past instead of being current and understanding the flows in the market too. So that's where it's adaptable and neuroplasticity and investing in your EQ is stuff that we'll go over in this training as well, so that you guys are in the most empowered emotional states when you're having these conversations and you're able to identify when others are not. Because if we can help with state management, we take our business to the complete next level and we're not taking things personal. And so that's something I want to help you guys with too is we're business owners and all of us on this call are 100% commission. So if we don't close, we don't eat. That's terrifying, but it's also empowering because it gives us the freedom. You put a lot of risk, there's a lot of reward because you don't have to have a college degree, but you can help somebody. If you close $1 million property, that's $30,000. That's pretty sweet. And some people don't make that in a year. You can make that in a transaction. And what's stopping you from getting a couple of those a month? You know what I mean? So it's the systems because you're not any less of a person than a realtor that's closing 200 transactions a year. They just have different systems and processes that allow them to close that kind of clientele basis. So let's get you there. So in the packet, you're going to get that activity tracker. Why is it important to track your activity? Well, how do you measure what you need to do better if you're not tracking your numbers? If you're not tracking how many face-to-face appointments, because you close more people that you'd meet face-to-face, and that can be via Zoom. So right now, this is a Zoom. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. All the people on here would count for me as face-to-face because you guys are also referral sources to me. So you guys can be doing the same. And I'm going to give you tips and tricks like on the VIP list. Do you know we have a massive group of people you can add to your VIP list? How many people or realtors in Judge Fight do you think have picked up the phone to schedule coffee meetings with all of the people on the one team?
Probably not many.
Mm-mm. Imagine sitting down, identifying their goals and how you could partner with them to help bring them more business, and then showing them how they could partner with you to bring more business by giving them your intro scripts, by giving your text message scripts like I've given you guys. Hey, here's how I want to be introduced, because it helps empower the relationship and adds an extra level. Because if you tell me about a restaurant, you're like, oh yeah, it's pretty good, you should check it out. I'm not going to that restaurant. But if you were like, I will go with you next time. This is the best restaurant. It's going to change your life. Your hair is going to be blown back. You're going to be changed forever. God's going to come down from earth. And it's, you know what I mean? Like, then I'm going. I have to go. But that's the thing. Oh, I give somebody your number and they're going to reach out. Like, okay, no, they won't. So that's the part where it's like, if you can track this stuff, because great phone calls, right? Because there's face to face, break breads. Break bread's a different relationship. How many people, if you're breaking bread with somebody, if you're meeting them and you're having a meal or a snack, that's a different level of relationship. So you want to track that, because are you meeting with the right people or converting? Because again, as business owners, we have to get paid to feed our families. And if there's no reward, you can still be in a relationship, but you need to replace that with somebody who is as committed to your growth as you are to theirs. And so that's where you identify it. You track your numbers, you know your metrics. Great phone calls. And you guys are going to have copies of all these documents, but Monday, you don't have to call a bunch of people, 10 people on your VIP list. Bing, 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 calling. And it turns to great when you've asked for a referral or asked for business. And it doesn't have to be weird. Hey, I know you're in this and that. I want to know that here's my goal for the year. I want to help another 6 to 10 people by the end of the year. And I trust you. If you come across anybody that you know that is renting, looking to lease, buy, please feel free to introduce them to me via this script. Here it is, and send it to them. Would you mind if I follow up with you in 2 weeks to see if how things are going? Great. It doesn't have to be your parents, friend, whoever, but there's ways to have that conversation. If it's a client, hey, I want to see what we need to do to help make sure you feel comfortable getting out and looking at offers again. Because you decided to put it on hold. No worries, no pressure. But let's look at what things need to look like in the economy and the markets so that we can get ahead of it and not react, but be proactive. Now you have a conversation. You're getting them engaged. You document it, because as it funnels down, events, videos, social media. I know a lot of people don't want to do social media, but most searches for real estate start online. They go to social media. They're going to go to, and it helps build brand equity. Because if you're thinking long term, when you're talking to a seller, what is some of your value? Well, I'm going to post online. What's your online presence? It just builds it. It gives you avenues. Not that you need to invest so much time, but at least some time. But posting videos gets it out there, and it's a way to generate leads. Imagine if you put a video out, what you like to do. So not trying to be weird, or like if you like to play baseball, if you like to go dirt biking or whatever, post from there. Hey, what other places would you like to see? Questions. Hey, people, what's your top favorite restaurants in Dallas that serve that might are what is your favorite Michelin star restaurant? Questions that lead to interactions. And so that's where it's like being intentional. But you put that here. Hours prospected, real true prospecting, not working in your database, but making calls, document it. Because at the end, you're going to see listing presentations and buyer reps signed. You're going to see your conversions at the end of the week. Did all this activity turn into signed buyers rep and listing representation agreements? Thank you cards. All of this stuff needs to show conversion. Otherwise, you can identify scripts that aren't working. Is it your call times that aren't working? But if you're not tracking it, how are you going to measure it? And then how are you going to address it? And so that's what this does. It gives you a weekly tracker for it. In Lead Tracker, once somebody agrees to meet with you and wants to start the buying process or selling process, they go on your Lead Tracker. Now, if you use Moxie, you don't have to use this form, but it's something that you're using to track their status. What's their code? What's this? What is my conversion percentages? I'll help you with all this stuff. So this is just an overview. But how many of you guys at all are using any checklists, any tracking metrics at all in your business right now?
Like
Anyone?
a mileage tracker is
Yep.
honestly, to be
For that
completely
tax
honest.
write-off.
Yeah, that's like probably the biggest one. And then everything else has just been um, from CRM to like mental. So I would appreciate, yeah, probably a more laid out form, and I need to definitely I know I can be doing more, and so this is the next step.
Yes, because all of this stuff I learned from being in part of the core team training, which the core is the largest training company in the entire United States for real estate and lending. It is huge. And what they're doing is trying to teach you how to, well, first of all, you have to pay $35,000 a year to be in level 3 coaching. So you have to be making money to get coached by them. And in order to get to their level, you got to do activities. And this is what helps take people who are minorly successful, who could afford a $35,000 a year coaching, to that next level, is activity tracking data. Because McDonald's is not the best hamburger in the world. Like, it's not. But it's the consistent hamburger. You know, if you're buying a cheeseburger in New York, Boston, California, it's going to taste the same. And no McDonald's go out of business. They're always packed because they give that service that people can count on over and over and over. We just get to add a little extra razzle dazzle and give that same level of service that people can count on, that we don't feel stressed about because we've built the system. And that's where some of these tracking metrics are, where you're looking at is, as a business owner, how are you identifying the holes and opportunities for you to improve in your business? If you don't have any tracking, you're not. You're pretending. You're not a business owner. You're an employee who has no boss and has no structure or system, and you'll be out of business very soon. But think about it from this, and I've mentioned this to a couple of people. At the end of every day, look at your production, your work, your output. Would you hire you as your employee for tomorrow's work? And not to beat yourself up, but to say, I got some room to improve and I'm going to do it because tomorrow I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. But on my daily checklist, I have a grade A, B, C, and F. I don't even have a D. It's like you got a C passing or you failed. And so, like, I want to know if I did well that day and adjust. But this is where some of these things come in, because you got to have it. Remember, I talked about text and email script. Now, again, we'll go over all this stuff next week, but this is an overview. You need to have your text and email scripts worked out. This helps because when you're got a client, I had this conversation with a realtor the other day. She ended up actually referring the client to another lender to do T-Shack, where I do it, because she didn't know I did T-Shack. And I was like, look, the way that you can overcome these situations is not trying to find the programs for your client, is depending on the relationship. I was like, here's the script. Who you choose to work with as your mortgage professional is your choice. But I'm confident a 10 to 15 minute phone conversation with my in-house lender, Ron Toy with Meridian Mortgage, is going to be worth your time. He's helped over 2,000 families with their home investment journey over the 10 years, and my clients rave about the service he gives. You don't have to know programs. You don't have to know pricings. You don't have to sell the application. You don't have to do this. You are literally just in supporting your partnership with your lender and making that introduction. And a lot of people think you have to give this many referrals out. You don't. You just have to make sure that their choice of who they get for home financing is up to them. And if they come with a lender, that's okay. Again, a 10 to 15 minute phone conversation with my guy is going to be important, because if you're at the Frisco LTRE, which I think was only Kevin and Rosemary, that we played this game where everybody got in this circle and there was a ball, and you threw the ball at the person and you said their name, and it was an interesting thing because people were dropping the ball and it was just this coordinated mess. And then they inserted more balls and a chicken, and it was just chaos. But that represents the cycle of a buyer. There's 8 companies and 32 people involved in every transaction, and that client is getting passed around through all of these people. If you don't have a consistent relationship that you can trust, how are you going to be able to earn that business in the future if the person that is doing this mortgage isn't going to represent this entire thing the way you want, and get you referrals back, get you the third party edification. If you drop the ball a little bit, are they going to protect you or are they going to protect their reputation? That's a part where you got to trust your partner and encourage that conversation instead of letting the tail wag the dog. Like, they are coming to you because you are the professional. And people come to me because they need money and I'm the lender. I want to give them the money and I'm here to serve them. But we have to keep that in mind in all of this thing. We're here to serve them, but most people don't do it very often. They don't know what they're doing. They did some research on Google, but just because I did a WebMD search doesn't mean I can give myself heart surgery. And more than likely, I don't have what the thing says I have. But that's the same thing with real estate. Oh, I went on realtor.com and this house is blah, 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 and I should offer 50,000 and they'll take it for sure. It's like, okay, go try it. But these scripts is one of the first steps because when you're making your VIP calls, you're talking to divorce attorneys, you're talking to contractors, you're talking to CPAs and financial advisors. Hey, what is the way you like to be introduced to clients when I have them and want to send them your way? Great. Would you mind if I share my script so that you have that and save it so it makes it a little easier when you're doing your annual client reviews that are happening right now for CPAs? Imagine if you had been reaching out to CPAs a few months ago, setting this conversation up. So you say, hey, when you're doing your annual reviews with your clients, if they need a comparative market analysis on their property for their projections, would you mind connecting them with me with this script? Because I want to make sure I add value to you and your clients. It's totally free. Wow. Now you've added value to that CPA. You've now got a client introduction. And now if you get a referral from your CPA, you trust that person. You're not shopping for another realtor. Like, that's your realtor now. Same thing if you're a realtor and you connect somebody with a CPA, that's their CPA now. And that's the power you bring when you take your business to the next level and approach this like a business owner, adding value with the VIP calls, with this. Everything is to add value to the people you're calling. Then you're not trying to sell them anything. You're trying to help partner with them, even if it's just a regular person. But you'll get all this time block theme days. We're going to go over all this in the future. But the first part, Tuesday, the key is elevator pitch, VIP list. And so if you want to get a head start, like bonus points, make yours because we can share if you've got them on Tuesday. Because the first week will be the assignments. The second week will be the follow-up and how it went. And so we're going to start with the first week of make your elevator pitch and build your VIP list so that you can start making your calls, and we'll get the results on week 2. So we got that. Now I want to answer questions because I know we're about to be at 7. I want to honor your time and end on time because I promised I'll start on time and I'll end on time. But now I want to answer any questions you have. You guys will get copies of this. It'll be in the share drive. But yeah, it's going to be fun.
Right, Ron, I just want to thank you, man, for this because I saw your process. We're working with you. I tried to develop my own process. It's some work, man. This takes time for this part, and then how do you like even your system where if I send you someone and how you respond, and notice you're not doing that manually. It's just one automatically. That saves a whole bunch of time. That's what I've been trying to do for myself. I'm so glad you came up with this, man. You know, you have no clue.
I'm excited for it because it's true. I learned this over 10 years and I've helped over 2,000 people with their home investment journey. And for half of the time I've been in this business, I was in charge of operation underwriting in our entire division for their budget. So I saw the things that would annoy me about loan officers, and I'm like, I want to fix it up front. And I'm a systems and processes person. So I'm like, let me implement this in sales because I'm not the finger guns guy. I am the guy that will go retile a floor for you because I'm not afraid to work because my previous history was in trash business. I've seen some things in Boston. So I'm not afraid to do whatever it takes to get a deal closed. But that's a part
I was going to ask you to help me do it, but I said, no, he don't have that kind of time to help me do this. So that's what
I'll take 2 Adderall and be done with that house in 30 minutes. That's a go juice. But that's where I'm here with you guys. Like, I want you to know that I'm a resource and I will help give you guidance. And anytime your clients come to me, if any of you guys have worked with me, if there's a client that comes that needs something that I do not specialize in, yes, I can do it. I will not make them be my test dummy. I will refer them to somebody that I trust because the relationship is more important. And I explain that to the client, like reverse mortgages. Can I do them? Yes. Do I? No. Michael Inkman with Fairway Mortgage is the person I will send all of my reverse, who I sent my own parents to. So, because I'm not about the transaction, I'm about the relationship, and that's an important decision. And that's who I connected Spencer with to do some of his speaking arrangements with about the senior care and senior planning, is with somebody I trust that my own family with. And so like that's where you get to meet people and go deeper. It's going to be awesome. And I'm just excited for each and every one of you, because if I can get you guys in this system, because everything we do pays us in 90 days and it's a cycle, but if you develop this, you're going to start seeing things happen by the end of this month. Activity really picks up in November and closings by December. But because you've been doing this consistently over those 90 days, guess what happens your first quarter of next year? Now you're busy. You don't have that slump because you're preparing for it. That's what we're going to build, because October tax bills are out, people. That's content. Guess what happens in January and February? Escrow account adjustments and the property evaluations go out. So now we have to set people up for that contesting their values in May. We set up the conversations now so that when that happens, hey, I know I've been telling you for the last few months about this. It's time. Now you have that built in. So it's going to be good. Anybody have any questions before you're free, you're free to go. I'm going to upload everything into that Google Drive folder, and you'll have invites to it. Make sure to download yours and save it to your own computer so that you can make edits and not feel like you're causing a problem for the file itself, because you guys will have edit rights. And if there's documents you want me to look at, you can make a folder and say Ron and for your own name and put it in there, and bam. So that's what I would suggest. But we're going to go into detail. We're going to start looking at your disc profile. We're going to look at your active centers and your brain and all of these things to build you into the most confident version of yourselves that you'd ever been. It's going to be awesome.
One thing I just wanted to say, I did create a script with ChatGPT in regards to the taxes. So if you don't mind, I will send it to you. If you can review it, let me know if there's any edits you would make. That way I can just have a finalized script year after year to go back to that sends out on October 1st.
Yep.
And thank you.
I like it. Yes. Perfect. Absolutely. Anybody else have anything they want to ask or feedback or questions?
Well, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be awesome.
Thank you, Ron. And I will send that script to Ron, and if you don't mind sending it to everyone here, if you approve of it,
Cool.
so they can have it in their databases too.
Yeah, I might put a folder in the Google Drive and just put it like team scripts, and just so then we can just upload stuff there and we could all look at it together and work on them if that's cool with you. Like I want to make sure to provide as many resources to the group, and also so people can see it too, because maybe that somebody else has a little bit of extra razzle dazzle, because I'm a high D personality, which you guys will learn what that means. And so I'm very direct driver. I'm good at starting projects and getting stuff done, but I'm usually not soft. And so that's a part where why people like Fatima and Ijoma, like they have a level of softness that I don't have, that is so precious that I want to protect that with everything in me. And that scripting might be a little bit, what would they add to it? Like what would their words be? And see, because maybe that resonates with you too, or someone else differently. And so then you have a script. If you can identify people's communication style, and if you're documenting it in your CRM, you're sending your high D clients this, you're sending your I's and your C's and your S's this one, so that you're communicating the way they want to be communicated with, not the way that you want to be communicated with. And so that shows even more of appreciation for a person. So we'll go into more of that throughout the coaching, but you guys are going to be on the next level.
Thank you, Ron. You're awesome.
Sweet. I will talk with you soon. If you need anything over the weekend, text or call anytime, but I'll make I'll send you guys the invites to the drive, and I'm here to serve you anytime. So
thank you, Ron.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ron. Have a good night.
All right, you too.
Talk to you soon then.